All right, let's make this simple beaded bracelet. So you can make your pattern out, you can put your pattern, whatever you want to do, go like this. I think I'm going to do black, pink, and a silver, black, pink, silver, black, pink, silver, or I could do a silver in between. There's really no right way to do it. It's just what you like. It's just teaching you the techniques of how to make the bracelet. Now with bracelets, you have to be more specific because wrists it's a fickle thing to do bracelets because you have to get the right size, right? And every wrist is a different size. That's why I love the memory wire bracelet we did. If you haven't seen that video, go check that out. It's so easy. You can put it on any wrist, no class. It's wonderful. But this, you actually need to know a size. And I have about a 7-inch wrist. And so I know the size, but if you're making it for you or for somebody else, you gotta make sure you know their size, right? That's what custom jewelry is all about, baby. Okay, so I am going to get my wire. I'm gonna cut this. Bends are really bad when it comes to wire because you can see it in your final product. And so I am just going to cut that off and then unspool it. I don't like cutting it from my spool because one, it'll just fall off, and two, if I cut too short, I have to restart the whole thing. And so I like to just keep it on while I make my bracelet. So I am going to, I'm going to start with a silver. And then I'm going to go black, pink, silver, and super easy pattern. So I'm going to do about 7 inches of that. You can even get a piece of paper and measure out 7 inches and mark it up, right? Like I like to put like a black mark on one side, black mark on the other for my 7 inches. And then I can continue to measure it out on that piece of paper and stuff. And so there's different ways you can make sure that you are measuring it to the right length. You could have the person put string around their wrist and cut the string to the size they would like, and then give it to you, and you can make it according to that. That's another way to measure if you just don't know. Or you can get their favorite bracelet, your favorite bracelet, and the size of it, and then measure it against that. And so there's just different ways to measure the bracelet. Oh, that's looking cute. Look at that. That's looking cute. With the chip beads, there's so many different sizes, right? There's a big, there's a small. They're not all the same size, and they don't all have the hole in the same place. And so you could be really picky and have to pick the exact right bead. Or you'd be like, whatever, I'm just gonna make a cute bracelet and that's that. And so you got to know your style. I used to be very picky and have to pick out every single rock. And now I'm like, oh, it's pretty. I like it. We're gonna go with it and do it that way. And so, yeah, I love these filler beads. These silver filler beads, they're so pretty. They kind of break up the look of it. They kind of bring an extra color and kind of make the other colors pop. I like adding a filler bead to it. Now this bead, it's like barely, like the hole is barely there, and it looks like it's already cracking. If you think that your hole has a crack in it, don't put it on because it will eventually pop off. And so you can just put that bead to the side. It happens with every bead. Oh my goodness. Beads all the time, they have stuff wrong with it or whatever, and just 1 out of like 50 or whatever, just throw it away. Don't even worry about it. Don't worry about wasting it because it will break on your jewelry piece, and then there's gonna be like that gap there. And so I used to be like, no, I have to use every bead and I have to just make sure it's, I'm not wasting beads. But can I tell you, like, beads have imperfection, and it's okay if the hole was cut too close and it looks like it's gonna break, like it's gonna fall off eventually, then just don't use it. Don't use it. It's not worth it. Can I just tell you, especially if you're making it for somebody else and they don't know how to make jewelry, or you're doing it for a customer or whatever, right? Like just don't worry about it. Just throw away the defaulted bead. This is cute. Now now these can be pokey, so make sure that it's gonna be okay for the wrist. Kind of try it on and stuff and do that. But this is looking so cute. I gotta try it. I gotta measure it up. So I have this bracelet that I made for a video. I'm gonna measure it up. I'm gonna measure against the chain. I'm not gonna measure against the clasps because the clasp adds about an inch and a half for the bracelet, and so if you have a 7-inch wrist, right, and you are making a bracelet, make the bracelet like 6 inches, and then leave an inch for the clasp part. And because your clasp does add an inch and a half to it, and it's just better that you measure in the clasp already. So make sure you know the wrist size, right? So let's say it's 8 inches. I'm gonna make a 7-inch like beaded part, and then I have about an inch for the clasp and stuff. And so yeah, this is looking good. I did not grab enough silver pieces. And so we just keep going. We just keep going with the flow. We keep going. I love it. Yeah, we just keep, oh, it just pops. They're slippery. Little beads can be slippery, especially the shiny ones can be really slippery. So watch out now. Watch out, watch out, watch out. This is so pretty. The pink and the black, I like pink and black. I like pink a lot. I'm sure you can't tell from my fingernails. My fingernails are bright pink. And that looks about good. So now we need to put the clasp on. The first thing you're gonna wanna do is you have jump rings. You're gonna use 2 jump rings. One jump ring is gonna be on one side with the clasp, and the other one's gonna be on the other side to hook in the clasp. And so the jump rings need, the one without the clasp, it needs to be made sure that it's going like this, because if it's going like this, then your bracelet will fall apart. You don't want a gap, you wanna make completely connected, touching one another. Now the other one, now this jump ring, I am going to open it up. I'm going to put my clasp on, and then I'm going to close it up. I'm just preparing it for when I put it on the bracelet. So that's ready. Now, I don't know if you've ever used a crimping bead. A crimping bead is the tiniest little bead you ever did see. And oh, this is really tiny. So you put the crimping bead on first. It's in the kit, and then they're the tiniest beads. They are not spacer beads. They're for crimping. They're for squishing and holding the jewelry piece together. Now I'm putting on my clasp, and I am going to bend the wire around my clasp, my jump ring, right? The jump ring is holding the clasp on. Around the jump ring, the jump ring. And now I'm going to put my crimping bead back through. I'm going to put my crimping bead back through, just like so. And this wire is a bit thick, and these jump rings are a bit small. Now, you don't want to put it all the way up against, like to squish it. You want to have a little bit of give on your jump ring. So I'm going to bring it up just a little bit more. And now with my snub nose pliers, I am going to press down, and it's going to flatten out my jump ring. You need to make sure it's completely flat because it's holding your wire. And then I'm going to put it back through. See if it'll go back through. It's a pretty thick wire. This is a nice thick wire. There's a little lip on the silver bead, so it could take a moment to get in. I'm going to put it through my other beads. I think I'm gonna cut because you don't want it poking out. And the reason I put it back through is you don't want it poking out, or it'll hurt the person wearing it, and they won't end up wanting to wear your jewelry piece. And so you need to make sure that it is properly dealt with so that it doesn't hurt anybody. And then we're going to, bring this down. You don't want a gap between your bead and the crimping bead because it just doesn't look nice. Now, if you're a beginning jewelry maker, cut yourself a lot of wire, a lot, so you have, you're able to put it back through. So I'm gonna give myself a lot, and then I am going to put that back on, put it to the side, and I am going to put my, oh, these are so tiny. I'm gonna put my crimping bead back on, and I gave myself a lot. I don't need that much, it's gonna drive me nuts. Okay, I'm gonna put my wire around my jump ring, and I'm going to put it back through my crimping bead. And what we're going to do is, there's a lot of gap. And so I'm going to grab the wire and pull and pull. And make sure when you're pulling that the split part isn't by the wire, that it's on the opposite end, or the wire will come through the split of the jump ring. And so I pulled, making sure there's no gap. Looks good, looks good. I'm gonna give myself a little bit more so I can put my wire back in my bead. And so I'm going to crimp my crimping bead like so. And now that's too much wire. I want to cut it off and put it through my bead. And so I'm gonna take my snub nose pliers, and I'm going to put it in my bead. And this is the hardest part, especially as a beginning jewelry maker. One time, I remember when I first began jewelry making, it would take me like 20 minutes just to get it back in. But we did it small enough, it fit nicely in the bead. And there, my fellow jeweler, you have a beautiful beaded bracelet.